What's that one thing you're better than 99.9% of people at? Write in the comments what you think about this. Enjoy the show. Story 1. Rating things. I assume most people think they're better than most other people, and it's quite subjective, but I think I'm that good. I rate from 0 to 10 out of 10 with half marks available. The average must be a 5/10. So if I rate 1,000 random things, if there are more things rated 6 than 5, the rating is flawed. This isn't school where knowing 70% of the information is a C, as that's just okay. It's not about an amount of knowledge. It's a rating in comparison to other items of the same genre. So 5 has to be the middle. I can rate something definitely a 5/10, and be confident if I rate something else a 5/10 7 years later and something else a 6/10 5 years after that. I can look at the 3 ratings and immediately agree with myself that yes, the one I gave the 5.5 is exactly between the other two. Edit. I should add that a rating can only be possible with an amount of knowledge, so when I say rating things doesn't equal anything. It only is things I have the knowledge to rate. If I don't have the knowledge to rate it, then it gets no rating. I know what I know what I don't know, or what I... Story 2, medication for questioning. I hold nothing sacred enough to not question. God, family, nation, and myself. Nothing is off limits to questioning and examination. I hold no beliefs to be infallible, as a belief without end is not even a belief. Likewise, it takes a will to believe as much as it takes a will to question. And I rather leave the world with nothing than with something that is false. Story 3, music transposition. I can listen to a complicated piece from a film score one time and can usually transpose each part perfectly the first time. I have autism and suspected savant syndrome. Most of the people who are close to me don't know, and they will never know. Story 4. Quitting addictive substances. I have no idea why, but it seems like if I have any personal desire to do it, I can quit just about any addictive substance cold turkey. I still get all the fun side effects that come with quitting. Definitely not immune to that. Story 5, stealing people's stuff. I had a crush on someone and hung out with them for so long, they used to teach me sleight of hand magic tricks, and I ended up learning how to take shit from people right in front of them. I'm not talking like money or jewelry or wallets. I mastered the art of stealing food, candy, drinks, cups, pencils, books, glasses, cases, shoes. Pretty much the moment you put something down and looked away, I'd pick it up without being noticed. I got so good I was able to steal milks, juices, sides, and other food stuff while in line to get food at school, and got big lunches for basically free. I also got really good at hiding stuff in my palms and forearm if I had a long sleeve shirt. I then learned sneaking techniques from a few people so I can walk silently, and I torment my wife by stealing her food and placing it down somewhere else in the kitchen. At first, it drove her mad, until she got so used to it she just elbows me the moment she feels like I'm behind her waiting. Also, I used it in my stints in jail to cheat at chess checkers. Story 6, test taking. I can ace pretty much any exam with little to no prior knowledge, especially multiple choice tests. I am able to read a question and the options and figure out the right answer. Can usually tell what they're trying to trick me to pick, and then by process of elimination know which is the right answer. Or by seeing other related questions I can get in the mind of the person who wrote the test. I had the highest incoming score on my GMATs for MBA school and didn't study for a minute. Got a perfect score on math SAT without studying and scored highly on reading part, and American English isn't even my first language, born in England. Being a good test taker has pretty much carried me through life, and I'm 40. I have more certifications than anyone in my industry, making me valuable to any company since certifications help them get business. It's kind of BS, as I have coworkers way smarter than me that struggle with getting their certs. Story 7. I have 2 degrees in philosophy and was a columnist for my county newspaper for a couple of years. I also had a handful of op-ed articles published by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. The op-ed editor at the AJC told me that I was good at breaking down complex ideas into understandable parts. I've had friends tell me that as well. So I would say that this is what I'm better at than most people. Story 8. Probably what I do for a job, a machinist, but I do so much repair stuff nowadays. I seem to be able to troubleshoot and understand the simple answer to a shit question. I know I'm good at it, but hate that I am. Always get the total shit jobs. But I does help IRL, understanding 3D space and constraints. I kinda like helping people move. It keeps the brain going in that sort of line. Story 9, taking tests, apparently. I'm terrible at motivating myself to actually get any work done, at home or professionally, but I managed to muddle through school with average grades because of top 1% test scores, including perfect scores on the ACT, SAT. I ended up dropping out of college for a while, before going back and finishing in my late 20s. Didn't get a well-paying job or move out of my family home until my 30s. Finally reached financial independence now that I'm almost 40. but I'm in a fair amount of debt. So yeah, I'm good at taking tests. Yay, I think. Useless for life, but an interesting part of my school years. Story 10. There was a math section of the ASVAB test back in the mid-1980s that was basically a speed run. You had something like 100 seconds to answer 60 math questions. Seeing as how that averaged out to less than 2 seconds a question, you didn't have time to fill in the multiple choice dot, then move on to the next question. You basically had to start processing the next question while you were still filling in the dot. I took the test with 800 other people who had been bussed into the testing site. According to my recruiting sergeant, out of those 800 people, I was one of only 2 people to finish the section and the only one to get them all right. So in that particular section of the test I was in, at least the top 99.875% for that group of 800, which rounded up to the first decimal place would be 99.9%. Story 11. Handling chemotherapy, at least that's the impression I get from my doctors. It's a good thing too. I was diagnosed stage IV colon cancer 2.5 years ago and have been on a heavy regimen of chemo ever since. Thankfully, I'm still able to keep up with the treatments, work part-time, and raise my young son. My wife passed away last year. Still, it's certainly a power I wish I never had to find out about. Story 12. Tell me to grab any specific amount of paper out of a ream of paper, and I'll get it spot on, or within 2, 3 sheets for a large stack, 95% of the time. IDK why this is the case, but it's always been the case, just a GD master paper estimator. Story 13. You can count on me to get the biggest, most powerful, richest, most popular folks to join a cause. My list of success. Jeff Bezos. Yep, you heard that right. We connected via a conversation about fraudsters. TikTok YouTuber with mass reach of 20,000 plus people. Another TikToker Instagrammer with mass reach of 5,000 plus people. Industry monster. Top 100 richest, most successful in industry. He has recurring revenue of $100M plus / year. Partner of top 10 global law firm. Long story about this one. C-suite of F50, who is also now a strategic advisor to several other global companies. I have a goddamn special knack in connecting with the filthy rich, even though I didn't really grow up being that financially stable. I think it's luck, but it's luck mixed with my constant growing knowledge skill set. Story 14. Recognizing faces, remembering conversations. I remember faces really well, something I get from my dad, I guess. But if we have met before, or if I saw you at a business function, we may not have been introduced, but I can generally recall individuals after having seen them previously. Similarly, if we were introduced at said function or with my friends, we discussed a particular topic. Fast forward 6 months, I will recall that time we had met before, and probably recall that you love to hike or were a communications major, etc. Now, my powers may be limited to fragments, not the whole convo, but enough to reference the time we had spoken last. Story 15. I'm better than 99.9% of people at being better with nothing. Everyone wants to be better than 99% of everyone else at something, but then that's a sad way of going about your life. You'd be too busy trying to find something definite and literal in the real world that you're better at than 99% of people to register yourself in the eyes of the public, instead of fucking off with that and getting your life squared away. Story 16. This will sound stupid, but I've actually thought about it. What do I have more practice at than any other person on planet Earth? My stick shift RAV4 that I've had for about 20 years. I've driven it for so many thousands and thousands of miles, and it's basically an extension of myself by now. There's not another human being on the planet that knows exactly how to drive it. From the tricky start, in first immediately into second, and getting into fifth at 35 miles per hour because that's what it wants to when I feel it trying too hard, and downshifting for a while. The temperature the night before I start it and how I need to take it for the first few miles, everything. It's my baby, and anyone else in the world wouldn't last a day without stalling or the engine just finally giving up. We've gone through a lot together, and I know exactly how to treat it. Story 17. Kidney stones. In the past 20 years, I've averaged passing at least 1 stone a year and had multiple procedures to break up well over 100 stones. Most people who pass kidney stones only pass 1 or 2 in their lifetime. For reference, women I have spoken to who have given birth and passed kidney stones have said they would rather give birth because it's less painful. Story 18. Storytelling. It's my profession, so in all reality, I'm glad I'm good at it. But to dig a little deeper and explain what I mean, I can weave stories out of thin air, not lies, but stories. The trick of a good story is to include a grain of truth, a lesson, and a mystery. I was told as a child that I had a knack for it, yet I never believed the family members who said it. And only when I went to college did I revisit the words of encouragement. I pursued it and found, heck yeah, I can do this. By the gods, I was dumb then and still am, but I can tell good stories and make a living doing so. Story 19, I studied psychology and one part was to make all kind of tests. There is a test called D2. It's kind of an attention test. You have many sheets with just D and P. Some have a line over, some under them, some don't. Sometimes they have 2 lines. You have a limited amount of time to cross all D with 2 lines. My result was that I was better at that than 99% of the population. I'm not sure what it is good for, but I am still alive to find out. Story 20. I have an autistic level of ability and workflow efficiency. I'm just able to see the essence of each step, what's critical and what's not, and eliminate extra garbage steps. Unfortunately, this also drives me to autistic-esque anger quite easily when I see excess fat in workflows and just have to endure them. Story 21. I'm in the top 1% easily for IQ. Note, this is not I am very smart. IQ is an incomplete measure of intelligence, etc., and I understand my limitations. But what that does mean for me is that I understand systems better and faster than other people, grasp some concepts that are out of reach of the average person, and generally have a Cassandra complex when I predict inevitable failures that other people refuse to help in mitigating. It also means I've been lonely a lot in life, both with friendships and romantic pursuits. One thing many intelligent people have to learn is that their emotional intelligence is probably stunted. I've spent the last decade working on mine. Overall, I don't really like being this way. It helps me secure a high-paying job and I can fix a lot of problems other people can't. But life is extremely hard in a lot of other ways. Story 22 presenting, I'm incredibly good at it. I can deliver a great story, keep the audience on their feet, can also read the room accurately and change the course if needed. It's always a success when I present something, and I'm an introvert who hates social interactions and being around people. But I know people so very well. Story 23. Being overly blunt when people want real harsh advice instead of validation. My friends legit tell me they come to me because I am honest and will call them back to earth when they are being delusionally stupid or making a problem out of nothing. To this day, I don't know if I should take it as a compliment or not. Story 24. Apologizing sincerely. I don't get why people act like it's so hard. Edit. To all the people whose toes I've clearly stepped on, I apologize. A lot of people have never received a sincere apology in their lives to have it modeled for them. So in reality, I do understand quite well why it's very hard for people, and I should have been less dismissive of that. That's my bad. If you've never gotten one before, just know that you deserve a sincere apology when someone wrongs you. It doesn't make you sensitive or stuck up. The people who care about you should care enough to want to apologize and repair that relationship with you. You deserve that. We all do. You see how fucking easy that was? LOL, just messing around. Love you guys. Story 25. I am an incredibly careful driver. 100% attention on the road at all times. I will see that stupid maneuver you are planning up ahead before you even realize you're going for it. Your car knows. The wheels are already starting to turn, and you're going to bolt out from that stop sign that you should be waiting at, like a damn squirrel in the road. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, be sure to write comments and share your stories.